So far, we've learned how to create inputs, text areas, checkboxes, and radio buttons. Now, we'll create drop-down menus using the select element. You've probably seen a drop-down menu somewhere on the web before. These are typically built using the select element. Similar to checkboxes and radio buttons, select allows the user to input either a single answer or multiple answers. So again, we're starting out with a blank page, and I'll go ahead and switch over to the text editor, and here you can see we already have a form element, and we're going to go ahead and ask a question using a third level headline. What is your favorite food? And I'll go ahead and close that. And now we'll go ahead and create the select menu, and to do that, we'll use the select element. So we'll open it there, and then we'll go ahead and close it, just like that. The select element has an opening and closing tags, and it will contain all the possible answers. Inside of the select element, we're going to nest several option elements. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll open up our select there, and we'll open up an option tag, and inside of it we'll put grapes. And then we'll go ahead and close it just like that. And I'll go ahead and copy and paste this option tag because we're going to use it multiple times here. And we'll switch out some of these options. So instead of grapes, we'll say strawberries. And instead of grapes for here, we'll say oranges. And our last choice will be apples. So we'll switch over to the browser and refresh, and there you can see we have our third level headline, and we now have this nice select menu, just like that. So let's go ahead and add a few more choices. Instead of fruit, we'll go ahead and add in some vegetables. And I'm going to just cheat a little bit here and copy and paste some of these from off screen. So there we have 4 vegetables: green beans, broccoli, celery, and carrots. And if we go ahead and save that out and switch over to the browser and refresh, you can see that we now have more options, just like that. If we want to, we can pre-select one of these options. This is nice if you expect an option in a select menu to be a very common or default choice for the user. To do this, just use the selected attribute on one of the options and give it the value selected. So let's go ahead and switch over to our text editor. And we'll make oranges the default, and we'll use the selected attribute and give it the value selected. So now when we refresh the page, oranges will be the default, and if we select something else and refresh the page again, oranges will again be the default. It would be nice if we could divide these two categories of foods into groups. This is especially useful when you have a select menu that's extremely long. We can do that using the opt group or option group element. So let's go ahead and switch over to our text editor, and we will wrap our options in the opt group element. So we'll say opt group, and we'll close our opt group tag just like that, and we'll indent these a little bit for readability. And again, we'll use the opt group tag down here, and we'll close it, and then we'll go ahead and indent these as well. And we'll save that and switch over to the browser and refresh. And now we have some nice spacing between our fruits and our vegetables. What would also be helpful is if we could provide some labels for these option groups. We can do that pretty easily by using the label attribute. So let's switch back to our text editor. And on our opt group, we'll use the label attribute, and we'll say that these are fruits, and then we'll use the label attribute here, and we'll say these are vegetables. So when we switch over and refresh, you can see that we now have these nice labels for our option groups. Finally, I mentioned at the beginning of this video that you can actually select multiple options here. To do this, we need to add the multiple attribute to our select element. So we'll switch over to our text editor, and on our select element, we'll use the multiple attribute, and again, we'll give it the value multiple, just like the selected attribute uses the selected value. So we'll switch over to our browser and refresh. And now, if you hold down Shift and click, you can select multiple options. So, when should you use a select menu, and when should you use checkboxes and radio buttons? Well, it really all comes down to design and usability. If you have a very short list of choices, checkboxes and radio buttons are the way to go, because it allows the user to see all of their choices at once and compare them easily. If you have a very long list of things for the user to choose from, such as a list of countries, then it's best to use a select menu, like we've done here, to save space. That's it for select menus. In the next video, we'll learn about some elements that can help us format our forms.